the last one is not having a clear goal and a clear path of how to succeed at this company. And if you will create that for them, you will give them a clear vision of what it means to succeed and where we're going and what your part in that means. That's so critical. And a lot of folks just get busy doing their thing, and those things go to the wayside. But here's the thing, the biggest reason why people don't stay in a career is they don't feel appreciated or they don't feel value in what they do. Those are the two big things. It's actually not money. It's actually not the position or title. It's about feeling appreciated for what you do and knowing that the work you're doing is valuable and that you're contributing to something meaningful. So if they have a vision of where you're going and what their part means to that vision, then they're much more likely to be able to hook into it, and it takes on greater meaning. So those are just a few things. Obviously, there are myriad other things we could talk about, but those are big mistakes I see often. Mm-hmm. And so if you pay attention to those things, I think it'll help you.
The very latest on economic development, workforce, and industry sector news in Southern Colorado. Here is Business Digest Weekly with our host, Dirk Hobbs.
All right, good Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business Digest Weekly. I am your host, Dirk Hobbs, and man, am I glad to be back in this seat. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had the opportunity to come into the studios. We've been very busy in the region. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I have a golf polo on because it is May. I'm excited, or getting close to May. I am really excited about this season. I love the summer season.
100%.
100%. That's Tyler. Tyler and I are going to get into a conversation about human resources, and we're going to have a blast. You're going to get some great insights and education. But before we get on to that, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has sent us a message on our recent acquisition of the Colorado Springs Independent and the Colorado Springs Business Journal as a part now of the Colorado Media Group portfolio. And we are honored. We are definitely excited to reconnect the community throughout the region here. And the Indy has a long legacy, a long history, 30 plus years in the community, and has been a very vibrant part of our conversation here in Southern Colorado. And the Business Journal, of course, has an outstanding reputation. The gentleman that owned it before, as you guys probably know, they're very busy individuals, and they have got some big fish on their plate right now. Of course, J.W. Roth has the venue and his expansion going all over the country with those venues. And of course, Kevin O'Neill is very busy with his endeavors with his venture fund and a number of other projects, not the least of which is a 27-story tower downtown that they'd like to see come out of the ground. So anyway, exciting times for them, and I'm just honored that they looked to us and said, hey guys, you know what you're doing. You've got the time to do it. Take this to the next level. So thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Colorado Springs, for putting your trust in us. We will work for that every day. The Business Journal itself will actually go inside the current Business Digest. It will be a large section of the publication, and we're actually going to welcome the communities of Pueblo, Canyon City, Trinidad, Castle Rock, and other parts of South Denver Tech Center into the conversation as well, because that's one big macro economy. And together, we're doing a lot of great work together. That concentration, that critical mass, is helping us recruit and retain companies because our workforce becomes more broad. Our economic sectors become more diverse. So if you need to transfer from, say, the aerospace industry over to the manufacturing industry, you have that opportunity. Or if you want to go from hospitality into another realm, you can. And employers, they have now a more rich and fertile environment from which to draw. Of course, not leaving out our educators, both K through 12 and higher education, working very hard to get into the minds of our employers and what they're looking for in that next generation workforce so they can prepare them to come out of high school and certainly out of college or university ready to work. So exciting times. I'm honored to do this, and it's going to be a lot of hard work. I can tell you that right now, but we are very excited. And we'll be welcoming some of the staff that was with those 2 former papers over to our realm to have an opportunity to continue some of their great work. So stay tuned. If you have any comments or questions or thoughts about things, I welcome you to put those in an email to us at info@coloradomediagroup.com and speak your mind. You know, we're big boys and girls. We can take it. So let us know what's on your mind, what's missing in the conversation. The business publications are going to stay right in their lane. That is business. And the language of business is workforce, economic development, and economy and finance. And so we're going to stay in that lane and give executives and employers the toolkits they need to expand their business, and everybody can keep their job. How's that? All right. Well, I have a very special guest down here. I'm very excited to have Tyler with me. He is with Vida HR and Vida Benefits. He is the senior partner over there. Tyler, tell me a little bit about yourself. You came down from Fort Collins this morning, so
yes,
thank
sir.
you for doing that. That had to be a little bit of a burning eye morning.
A little windshield time.
A little windshield time for sure.
Yeah,
but Tyler, welcome to the program. Glad you're here.
Dirk, thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be with you, and making the trip to Springs is part of my week every week. So it's a delight to be with you guys. And a little bit about me. I've been in Colorado for 30 years now, so I'm almost local. All my kids are born here. Got 3 kids who are adults and live in Fort Collins now. Beautiful wife, married for 31 years, almost 32. So I'm spoiled rotten.
Yes, you are.
I love the outdoors. We boat and ski and fly fish and mountain bike, do all that stuff. And but what we love doing is making a difference in our community.
Yeah.
So whether involved in my church or whether it's involved in helping small business in Colorado succeed, whatever it is I can do in my community, we're part of Colorado Companies to Watch. We've been part of the Best of Springs here and so forth. And so we really want to give back. We really want to do things that are meaningful to help our business community grow. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little bit about me.
Very good. Where'd you go to school?
All over the place.
Okay.
Texas mostly.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, actually. But
you're a TT guy, huh? Is that a Red Rider?
Yes, Red Raiders.
Red Raiders.
Get your guns.
Yeah. Right on.
But I got out of Texas and I got to Colorado as quick as I could.
Okay.
30 years ago,
Yeah.
31. And so love being here.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome. And, the topic we're going to get into, we're going to give you plenty of room here to unpack what's going on at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
So outsourcing for a lot of companies is the only way to go. And I'd like to understand over the course of this conversation, who's an ideal candidate for you? Who's an ideal customer for you? But had you always been in the employment realm or the what do you call this?
HCM, Human Capital Management.
There you go.
World.
Human capital.
Yeah, no, I have not.
Okay.
I started as a sales guy right in college. Actually, as a sophomore in college, I was a sales manager for a publishing company.
Oh.
And I've been selling and working on building relationships and growing teams since then. I was 19 when I started. It wasn't until this company that I bought into 14 years ago, they served me.
Really?
They served me for 7 years before I went to work for them.
Okay.
And so they had taken care of all the HR and all the payroll and all the recruitment and all the things that I didn't want to have the skill or the passion to do. They took care of for me. And we grew that little company in Trinidad, Colorado from about 15 employees to about 150 before my tenure there, before I changed roles.
Yeah.
And they did all of it for me. And so I knew the value of what they did.
Yeah.
And I was able to grow the company and significantly, and they were able to take care of all of those things that I was not an expert in. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to get back to Colorado, though. That role had me on a plane. I was gone every week, Monday to Friday. My kids were coming up. I wanted to be home. And I wanted to do something that made a difference here, not just in Trinidad, but in Colorado Greater. And so I moved home. I got off the plane, called my friend who had served me for so many years and said, "Who would you talk to?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I'll get you a list in a day or two." So 2 days later, I'm like, "Dude, where's my list? Man, I don't think you know I'm serious here."
Yeah.
And you know what I can do. So come on, help me out. And he's like, "There's only one name on the list, bro. That's me. And I need an exit strategy. And I think you need to be a part of something that you'll own going forward. And this is in my mind, this is a perfect fit." And I said, "Well, tell me about the deal." And 30 minutes later, I was like, "Oh, this makes complete sense."
Liked it so much, you bought the company.
I liked it so much, I bought in, and now I'm the senior owner and majority owner in the company. And it's
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's really been an amazing ride, but the thing that makes it so significant is the people on my team that I've been able to grow and develop, and that they've been able to far surpass me. And it's a delight to have a team of 30 experts that serve people with full hearts and with great integrity and with great care. That's the joy of it for me. So that's how it started. That's the story. That's how we got to here. But now we serve clients that have employees in 47 states. So we've got about 300 clients all over Colorado, and they have employees all over the country.
Very good.
And so it's a broad spread organization now, and it's a delight to be a part of.
Do you have niches that you tend to excel in areas more than others, perhaps?
We serve all verticals, because if you think about it, most businesses in Colorado, about 80% of the businesses are under 100 employees.
Right, that's right.
Right? This is our market, Colorado.
Small business.
The small business is who we are. And so most of those folks didn't wake up with an idea to do HR and payroll and compliance. Right. That's not what they dreamed of doing. They were a great engineer, or they were a great manufacturer. They had an idea for a product, or they wanted to provide a service. All those things come as a result of succeeding. You have to do them well. And so we serve all verticals, but there's a few that we really excel in. The healthcare space, we crush it.
Excellent.
And we really provide amazing care there. We have a lot of people who used to be in that industry. They bring a lot of extra value to the party. But we have manufacturing, we have engineering, we have attorneys, we have construction, we
professional services as well. Got it.
Of course. So we cover the whole gamut of verticals.
No, I'm glad you called out healthcare, because that segment in particular, particularly in Southern Colorado, is really accelerating. There's a huge need there.
Yep.
So,
well, and another one, just to add to that, government contracting space for us is very, very strong.
Yep.
And there's so many compliance requirements. In fact, I don't know if you know this, Dirk, but the state of Colorado, we just made a major accolade, not one that we were hoping for, but we just surpassed New York in being the most difficult state in the union. Next to California, we're number 2 for compliance, legislation, requirements for employees, for employment. We have one of the most challenging states to be an employer in, but yet our business community is thriving. And so it's exciting and kind of nervous at the same time. It's kind of both.
But you bring up a great point, Tyler, because that tension is only going to last so long before employers uproot and say, you know what, this is just not worth the squeeze.
Agreed. So we gotta vote properly. We gotta stand up for our business community in a big way to make sure that they still have the freedom to be able to succeed. Yeah. Otherwise, it gets too challenging. They'll find another spot.
It really does. That's Tyler Johnston on the other side of the board here, and we're having a conversation about outsourcing human resources and benefits. And if you're a small business owner, like most of us are out there, including myself, this is a conversation you probably want to have. And there's differences between employment agencies and personnel agencies and things like that. So we're going to get the vernacular straight, and then we're going to teach you how to ask questions, what to look for, and educate yourself on finding the right match for your business. So stick around. I'm hanging out with Tyler Johnston. He's a senior partner over at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. We're back in a moment.
My experience with Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group has been top-notch. The whole orthopedic group, they've worked very well together. Even when I've gone through PT or needed to get my collar prosthetic, everybody's been just right on top of it. It's all centralized and the communications have been awesome. Even though I had my nervousness about going into surgery, I was still very confident. I knew I was going to be okay. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group is definitely getting me back to my life and the things that I want to do.
All right, we're back here second quarter with Business Digest Weekly on a Friday afternoon at 3:15. You are just an hour and 45 short minutes away from spinning up that blender, because it is almost 5 o'clock in Southeast Colorado on a Friday, and it is time to go home. Go home, ladies and gentlemen. You've worked hard, you've earned it, and hopefully we're going to have a beautiful weekend. Doesn't matter what it does in Colorado. It's beautiful anyway, right? So we're hanging out with Tyler Johnston. He is senior partner at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. They're based here in Colorado, and we want to get back to the conversation and understand what those two businesses are, what they do, and what makes them different from other personnel agencies and benefits programs that are out there. So, but we're going to get an education in the process here. So if you're in HR, you're a small business owner, operator, you're definitely going to want to lean into this because, sometimes when we go into business, we're an expert at X, making widgets, being a media personality, being a landscaper, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're a CPA. So HR has a lot of rules and a lot of landmines and payroll and compliance and all those things. There's so much to know and understand. It's often helpful to be able to outsource that with a trusted partner and be able to have them keep their eye on the ball that you need to be keeping your eye on, but can't because you're too busy running your business. And so we're going to get some education here as well and an understanding of what differentiates them. But before we do, I want to draw your attention to another program that we are now a part of. We have partnered with Fox 21 KXRM here in the region. They are the Fox affiliate. And every Monday morning, I hang out with Mr. Coffey and Abby Burke. So Craig Coffey and Abby Burke are the morning anchors over there. And in the 6:30 news block, we do a thing called the Fox 21 Business Insider. And I'll pull out some of the region's top stories. So again, if you have news and information that you want to get out there, if you've had a big expansion or you've relocated or there's some big thing going on with your workforce or a contract procurement or a win, we'd love to hear about that so we can tell the rest of the region how we're doing. And your success is the rest of the region's success as well. So let us help tell that story for you. Get your name out there on the airwaves and brag about you a little bit and how we're doing down here. So that's Mondays at 6:30 in the 6:30 a.m. news block with Craig Coffey and Abby Burke, Fox 21 Business Insider. What a privilege to share the business news here in Southern Colorado. All right, Tyler, let's get to work, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I'm a small business owner. I've probably got 25 people in my orbit right now, and I don't know whether to fly or go sailing when it comes to HR. So
Sure.
let's get a basic understanding of the two businesses, how they combine and where they separate.
Sure. So just one little piece of history and kind of market information for everybody.
You got it.
What's been happening in our HCM, human capital management space, in the whole country, actually, is that everybody's been moving towards software as a service, right? So good software can make your life faster and easier. That's true. And so the whole industry found that that's software sales. That's profitable. You can do that and make a lot of money because you can serve the masses. And so understand that. No bad people in that business, no bad companies, but that's the model that the whole industry has been going toward. Crazy thing is the HR world in our state and in our country keeps getting more and more complex. So we've kind of taken the human out of human resources in some degree, right? As we've used those outsourcing models, it's all become software. And sometimes employees can feel a little bit displaced or a little detached, or sometimes even in the PEO space, their paycheck comes from another company, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
And so there's a distance between some of the HR function and the employees themselves. And so as I came into this space, I had been served by them. I knew the value of having humans and experts help me.
Yeah.
And I had questions I didn't want to read a white paper for. I had tough terminations that I had to execute, and I didn't want to have a person give me a paper to read and then me have all the liability of it.
Right.
And so that's what's been happening with the industry, moving more and more to software or more and more to database resources that you can look up your own answers. What I think small business owners need so much of the time is help.
Yeah.
They need people to do the work. They need teammates that will help them build good culture and help them attract and retain good talent for a very long time. And help them develop that talent, and as well as all the compliance pieces and all those things that are so complex. So obvious where I'm leading with this, we put the human back in human resources. We're an outsourced part of your team. So we do everything from recruitment to payroll to onboarding to terminations to compliance, all your documents. If it's HR on the Vida HR side, we do it. But we have one platform as well that we utilize. So we have both software that will help integrate everything so that there's lack of error, one login for everybody, but we have people, experts who are dedicated to each employer to do that work with and for them. So you get to delegate all the things you don't want to take care of, and you get to retain the things that you love doing. And we get to help you shape those things. So you really reach your objectives with the team. So on the Vida HR side, that's it. We do everything soup to nuts for HR, whether it's from the start of that relationship to its ending and everything in between.
Okay.
But we work for the client. So we're there to help them build what they're hoping to build, not to give them a whole bunch of rules and the things that they have to follow without any perspective on where they're trying to go and what are they trying to accomplish and what kind of life are they trying to have as an organization. So it's really rewarding, that part for us. The benefit side is also everybody's complaining about the high cost of healthcare and insurance. Oh my gosh. Sometimes it's like a mortgage now for an employee and their family.
Easily.
It's incredibly expensive. So a lot of the organizations like us, again, approach this in a big swath kind of cookie cutter approach. If we can have master plans that give everybody access to a lower rate, we're going to do that. But it's not tailored to that employer. And there's also a lot of things they give up in terms of compensation they can get back or funds that they can receive back if they run well as a group. So we customize and tailor the employee benefits programs to each employer. And it really, the value that the employee feels from that is much higher. It's related to their needs. They have choices. They have lots of things that are more important to them, and the cost comes down. So we're able to save money, and we give small businesses the same kind of care and flexibility and creativity that a large company would get from a big broker. We do that with 20-person groups to 300-person groups, and it really makes a difference. It also, there's a huge encouragement toward health and wellness and toward ways that we can bend the curve on healthcare.
Absolutely.
I mean, the cost of healthcare keeps going up. We all know it.
Yep.
But the biggest issue is our health as a country.
And we need some accountability.
We need some accountability, and we need an incentive.
Yeah.
If we can turn the needle on our health and improve it, we have less claims, we spend less money. Yep. We should see a benefit for that.
You would think.
So you would think. So we've been able to utilize some resources and put together some programs that really help companies do that. Employees are engaged. They love the step challenges. They love the nutrition challenges. They love all that stuff. They get together on it. And then the benefits are tailored so that they can help reach the objectives of the employee group and really get good employees because they've got great benefits plans. So the two companies are full service and really professionals are dedicated to you. Experts are dedicated to you and your team so that you have that support and help. And we can do it for less than the majority of our competitors. So because we're locally owned and we don't have a huge, overhead
and marketing budget and things like that. So now, all right. So help me understand. I'm a business owner. Let's say I own a landscaping company and I've got 200 folks on my payroll.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm earlier in the process, but I'm starting to hit critical mass in terms of personnel, maybe where I'm at, 25 to 30 employees.
Yeah.
And at what point do you advise a company you need somebody specific in your organization to quarterback the HR and benefits conversation?
So with a company like Vida, you can get up to about 70 or 80, maybe even 100, depending on what you're doing.
Without having
that. If you have a team like Vida. When we get to 100 or more, you definitely need someone as a point of contact on site. You need someone that is right there in the middle of things, and then Vida can help that person thrive.
Got it.
So we can be the back office for them. We can support them in a way that they can really succeed, just one person with 100 people. Normally, when you reach 50 employees, there's a whole bunch of requirements in Colorado that start, and that's a really important threshold where you got to make sure you got your T's crossed and I's dotted. That's benefits are required and compliance pieces are required that weren't before. And that's a big tipping point. If you're up to that number or close to it and you haven't engaged someone like Vida, you need to and do it quick.
Yeah.
But the complexity of HR, even at a company of 20 or 25, right where you're at, is really a good time to start looking at it because there's important kind of complexity that's developing and the culture you're trying to keep Like you've gotten to 25 because you've done something well. You've got some pieces of your culture that are meaningful and people stay for.
Yeah.
But once you start to grow beyond that, it starts to get harder to maintain it and harder to keep it as rich. Mm-hmm. And so you want to make sure you're doing things proactively that help you grow and retain those things that are so important and have helped you succeed.
Very good.
So I think those are a couple of key metrics. But even just payroll, because all of our services are a la carte. Even just payroll. If you're the owner and you got 20 employees and you're doing payroll, don't. It's costing you too much.
Yes,
it is costing you too much. You need to get someone to help you with that so you can grow the business. And
okay. And you can do that math for them on paper as far as showing them, look, this is your hourly rate. and you've got 15 hours of HR that you're doing.
Yeah.
That you could be doing business development or something else.
Oh, yeah, easily. And not only that, compared to the general populace of our competitors, we're very, very competitive. But we just provide a ton more service and care. And so we can show them the math on that, but it's a no-brainer. Most of the time, people are like, when can I sign up? So we're growing thoughtfully, and we don't work with every client, and everything is word of mouth with us, and we're not doing any advertising, and we just keep growing like crazy.
I love it.
We're growing as fast as we can serve really well.
Now, are you guys taking your own medicine?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I'd love to hear it.
And we have many other people who support us, like on our business development strategy for our company and long-term exit strategy. We've got several advisors. On our retirement plan, we've got an advisor that does everything for us. On our tax, we have a whole tax team that's outsourced. Amen, it's not our expertise in terms of those sorts of things. And so we outsource that piece. So we have a lot of outsourcing that we utilize, and we have to really have a big growth and need to take on a fixed cost instead of a variable cost.
Very good.
Right.
Halfway through with Tyler Johnston. He is senior partner over at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. We're going to get into some of the questions you need to ask as that employer who is ready to transition to an outsourced HR and benefits model. Stick with us. We're back in a moment. All right, we're back here in the third quarter with Business Digest Weekly, 3:30 on a Friday afternoon here in Southern Colorado. We're headlong into the weekend here in just 90 short minutes. I do want to bring something to your attention for early May. Small Business Week is happening here in Southern Colorado. So the SBDC, or the Pikes Peak Small Business Development Center, the BBB of Southern Colorado, and the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC all join together this week and help small businesses get the recognition and the toolkits that they need. This is a great week. They start May 5th through the 9th. It's a full week of stuff, and some of the highlights of that, they start off with a kickoff on May 5th. You got to always start with a party. Entrepreneurs, innovators, and job creators that drive our regional economy are welcome to come to this. You got to register for it, though. You can't just show up. You definitely have to register so they know how much beer to buy. On Wednesday, they've got an AI workshop, and they're going to dive into the practical side of artificial intelligence and deploying that positively into your company. You may recall an interview we did with Rick Beaton at Modus AI and the human side of AI deployment and how it can have an impact on your staff if you're not careful. So generative AI is what they're going to focus on for May 7th in that AI workshop. You're definitely going to want to get some education there. And then there's a small business listening tour. I like this. This is the opportunity for small business owners in the community to sit in front of local elected officials and other business leaders and express their experience of trying to start a business here in Southern Colorado. What are some of the blockades? What are some of the unnecessary boundaries and borders or hills they have to climb that they can maybe create some efficiencies around? What is permitting like and all that stuff? How to navigate your city, how to get incentives. There's all kinds of things you can ask and listen to experts give you some insights and information on. And then, of course, towards the end of the week, they'll wrap it up with yet another party. So sometime that afternoon, they'll close it up with a network celebration, and you'll be able to network in there with some of the finest in the community. So if you want to register, go to coloradospringschamberedc.com/SBW, Small Business Week, and register your business. It's going to be a fun week, and it's a great time to celebrate the backbone of any local economy, small business. So get involved. All right, Tyler Johnston, senior partner at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. Speaking of building a business, oh my gosh. This segment, we're going to do a deep dive in some of the concerns and the excitement that employers have when they're starting to see their business grow. I want to start on what are some of the common errors employers make right out of the gate. Help them understand what some of those are. And they're probably unintentional, and they're probably doing the best they can. And they don't mean to step on a landmine, but they might. What does that look like?
It's a fair question for sure. And I think we have a wonderful business community. By and large, people want to do the right thing. They want to grow and they want to succeed and they want to take care of their team, but they can't be an expert in everything. And I agree with you. It's lack of knowledge or misunderstanding or something rather than some, intentional kind of thing. But I think some of the biggest issues are we have a really tight job market right now, really tight. And so I think business owners don't take themselves seriously enough in their postings. So they post the same posting they've been posting on Indeed and Monster for months and months and months, and it doesn't have that punch that it needs. So one thing is you got to make, in the first sentence, you got to make sure that the candidate knows what's in it for them. The most important thing about your opportunity, make sure it's front and center. There are going to be hundreds of opportunities. They got to open yours.
Right. That's true.
And so they're missing good talent because of lackadaisicalness in their postings and in their recruitment efforts that way. So one thing is pay really close attention to that. Shortly after that's the onboarding experience that an employee will have. And there's lots of studies about how much greater retention there is if the employee's onboarding experience is efficient, is thoughtful, gets all the things taken care of it needs to shortly. They feel like, wow, this is a professional company. This is a safe opportunity. I'm going to take this really seriously and settle in.
Very good.
So make sure you have a really strong onboarding process that will that make them feel secure and make them feel thought about and cared for in that process. And you'll see their onboarding process and their staying increase dramatically. So I think those two things are important. I think the other thing is there's lots of liability for them in discrimination and wrongful termination as well. And so you have to document everything you're doing, and they have to have those things in their file. Not everything has to be signed by them, but it has to be noted, and it has to be recorded in a timely way, and it has to be consistent. So make sure that your policies and your practices, the way you do things, is consistent. We all have those favorite employees, those people who are nice and wonderful to work with.
Yeah,
and they take very little care, but we got to treat everybody equally in the opportunity. And I think the last thing, I missed one thing in the recruitment process. We have to post internally now for 2 days before we post externally. And a lot of folks just miss that.
That's a
detail.
state requirement?
It's a state requirement. You have to post internally first so that you're not preventing people from within the company growing. They have to have the opportunity to step into those roles and interview for them. And if they qualify, great. If they don't qualify, it's okay. You don't have to award the opportunity to them. Have clear requirements, and they have to meet those to get the opportunity. But if you don't do that, then it's a discrimination issue, and there's high liability for those sorts of things. And then finally, in the termination process, it needs to be tight. If you've got a sticky termination, don't do it on your own. If you don't have an HR professional in-house who's skilled in those areas, talk to your attorney, talk to Vida, talk to employers, talk to somebody. And make sure that you get good counsel on doing that well, because you will never be sad that you did, because those things escalate quickly, and it's really an employee very centric state. We lean heavily on the rights of the employee here, and so you want to make sure that you're crossing those T's and dotting those I's well. Those are a few things that are important, but also I think having clear. The last one is not having a clear goal and a clear path of how to succeed at this company. And if you will create that for them, you will give them a clear vision of what it means to succeed and where we're going and what your part in that means. That's so critical. And a lot of folks just get busy doing their thing, and those things go to the wayside. But here's the thing. The biggest reason why people don't stay in a career is they don't feel appreciated or they don't feel value in what they do. Those are the two big things. It's actually not money. It's actually not the position or title. It's about feeling appreciated for what you do and knowing that the work you're doing is valuable and that you're contributing to something meaningful. So if they have a vision of where you're going and what their part means to that vision, then they're much more likely to be able to hook into it, and it takes on greater meaning. So those are just a few things. Obviously, there are myriad other things we could talk about, but those are big mistakes I see often. And so if you pay attention to those things, I think it'll help you. So that's just value.
And the handbook is critical. One piece of the puzzle, right?
Critical, yeah.
Okay. And a lot of folks aren't writers or even really know where to start with that document.
Sure.
So is that part and parcel what you do?
Very critical.
Okay.
And you need to have a handbook, and you need to have also in the onboarding process a set of documents you get from everybody as they're interviewing and then onboarding and so forth. I would say the handbook is the most important, and it's not that difficult. There are handbooks online that are Colorado compliant that you can tweak. You can hire someone like us or other companies like us that can produce a handbook for you and just do that, just produce that handbook for you. It's a pretty critical thing. I would encourage you to go to an HR company, though, rather than to an attorney for those things, because it's going to be a little less expensive for you for sure.
Probably.
And it's probably going to be more boots on the ground for you as the employer. But I think it is a critical document. You got to have one. And last year, there were significant changes. Every year, there are significant changes to what's required. So get it done and then get it updated and stay ahead of it. I think those things will provide you some good security for sure.
That alone is a business. I mean, clearly, you've got it. You're doing it as a business. A lot of PEOs are, but and you're a little different than just a placement agency. Is that fair to say?
Oh no, very much different.
Okay.
In that we're doing
Explain
the HR
that.
work. So in these things I just mentioned, these things that often are missed. For us, we're doing the job posting for the employer. We interview them to get get the requirements and the opportunity. Then we create the posting and post it for them. Then they select the candidates they want to interview them. Then we onboard them for them. Okay. We do the work.
Got it.
So we send them a link where the employee can check off all their boxes and upload their documents, and we walk them through it white glove. Then we train them on the timekeeping and how to start their first day, and so they show up to work ready to go. If it is compliance pieces, we do all that for the employer. If it is the handbook, we create it for you and update it every year. If it is benefits, we do the open enrollment meetings. We do the employee orientation meetings. Mm-hmm. So if they have questions about claims or what's covered or who to visit for that care, all those things are us. So we actually do the work that goes with all of those things. And so it's a lot different than a placement agency. We do recruitment, full recruitment and placement of executives and all those things, but then we do all the rest as well. Nice. So it's all integrated into one platform. So it's very full service.
Great pearls of wisdom from Tyler Johnston, senior partner at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. Real quick, we got about 90 seconds before we need to take a break here, Tyler. Tell us what type of company is kind of the ideal client for you all?
I would say somewhere between 15 and 20 employees. They're started. They're not getting started now. They're 15 and 20 employees up to about 2,000 is our range.
Okay.
But between 20 and 100 is the bulk of our clients. Those who are using another provider that's a software as a service model, they're having trouble getting help. They're on hold a long time. There's mistakes and errors, and they're tired of it. They need support that they can count on. They need someone who's proactive, who's there to help them navigate those things, and someone who's growing. Those are all good things for us. But if you're having trouble with the current provider, give us a call. We'd love to have a chat with you and evaluate whether we're the best fit. If we're not, we'll help you find the best fit for sure.
Very good. Yeah. Well, when we come back, I want to talk to you business owners about how much funding you need to allocate for this expense. And it is an expense, but it's an expense that can ultimately save you a tremendous amount of time and money when you're focused on your core competencies as an owner-operator, and you're able to do those things and not have to bolt on the HR and benefits component. You have a trusted partner in that. We're going to find out what that value is worth and what you need to start budgeting for your HR and benefits programs. Stick with us. We're back in a moment.
My experience with Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group has been top-notch. The whole orthopedic group, they've worked very well together. Even when I've gone through PT or needed to get my collar prosthetic, everybody's been just right on top of it. It's all centralized and the communications have been awesome. Even though I had my nervousness about going into surgery, I was still very confident. I knew I was going to be okay. Colorado Springs Orthopedic Group is definitely getting me back to my life and the things that I want to do.
All right, we're here in the fourth quarter with Tyler Johnston, senior partner over at Vida HR and Vida Benefits. It is Friday. It is the end of the week here in Southern Colorado. I'm very excited. I hope you are. It has been a very busy week for us. I'm so proud of our team. We have actually acquired the Colorado Springs Business Journal and the Colorado Springs Independent. We're very honored to do that. We look forward to shepherding those publications back into the community and folding it in for the journal. We're going to fold it into the digest. And for the indie, we're going to look at more of an arts and entertainment and get people involved in what we're doing here. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's restaurant critics and entertainment critics, gallery showings, all the knowledge base you're going to need to know. We're going to have some great stories on some of the people that are here in Southern Colorado that make up that community. So exciting times ahead. I'm very excited and very honored and privileged to do that. We're going to take some of those good folks that were over there before. So you'll see some common names or names that look familiar to you. But in this conversation, we just got some pearls of wisdom from Tyler regarding some of the mistakes and landmines that are out there for employers as it relates to formalizing your HR and benefits package for your employees. And if you missed it, if you're just picking us up right now or had to go make a sandwich or maybe your blender was on too loud and you couldn't hear what he was saying, but go back and listen to the third quarter because there's some great pearls of wisdom in there, and we're going to continue that conversation right now. So, Tyler, you've got a very unique value proposition with this company. Help our folks understand that, and then let's get back into the education realm and what these guys can start jotting down in terms of what some of the steps they need to take.
Sure. So if you're looking at your alternatives, let's just come at it from an alternative standpoint. What else could I do if I didn't outsource or use a company like Vida? Mm-hmm. You're looking at hiring an HR person who has some general tenure, probably not an expert, not at the top of the pay range.
Yep.
But you're looking at $75,000 to $100,000 these days, base like pay, not including benefits and everything extra. So it's a significant hire to bring someone in to manage those things for you. And when you do, normally you get an HR person who's got a couple of areas of expertise, and then they're going to source the rest of those pieces. It's hard to be an expert in all of it.
Interesting.
There's no way.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they're going to lean on like us or another service like us to get other pieces covered. So the expense is tremendous. And with us, it's going to be a third of that cost if you have 50 people or more. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a 25 to 30% of that cost. And you get a whole team of experts to be able to, and they collaborate like crazy. Mm-hmm. So you get an expert in COVID, you get an expert in employee relations, in terminations, in recruitment, in compliance, in et cetera. And all of those people work together for each client. So they collaborate a ton with each client. So you get a whole team of experts in that is dedicated and deployed to serve you. So I think the value proposition, like I said earlier, most of the time people look at the proposals at the end and they're like, well, where do we sign? Let's get this going, because I can't do that nearly for what you guys can do it for. And so it just makes sense from a.
So the financial equation is easy.
It's very, very easy. And that's why I think it is. We keep clients on average 12 and a half years. Mm-hmm. Right now, the industry average is 2 years. So that's 12 and a half is a nice multiple of that. It's why we're winning things like the Springs Best, the Business Best for the last 3 years as an HR company in Springs.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And some other
things like Colorado companies to watch and Mercury 100 fastest growing companies in Northern Colorado. On and on and on it goes.
Congratulations, guys.
But I think people want to have a relationship. They want to be cared for. They want someone who's proactive and looking out for them. And they want the value proposition to make sense. I think this is the other part that's really important, is most of the time we create these programs with a cookie cutter approach or everybody has to fit into my grid. However, businesses change. They're dynamic. Over time, they grow and their needs change. And so all of our services are a la carte. You can turn them on and off as you need them with 30 days. So we're able to make the offering tailored to the client so it meets their needs as they grow and change. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why we can keep them for 12 and a half years on average. By the way, I bought into the company 14 years ago. So we keep clients a very long time.
Yes.
And I think that's the reason why is that proactive approach. And it makes sense. The cost benefit analysis, owners are like, yeah, all day long. That makes sense.
Got it.
So I think we feel really good about it. I'm very proud of that we provide good value, a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, that we can go for a long time with someone and they feel good about it. So I think that's really, really, really meaningful to me. It's also meaningful, the team that we have. The team of people we have, I would put them up against anybody. They care, they're really talented, and they do great work and make me look good.
Very personable folks. Yeah, I've met some of your folks. They're very good people.
Yep.
So how much time does the average owner operator spend on this?
Too much.
So what's the margin degradation, would you say?
I would say we probably save them 75 or 80% of the time.
Is that right?
That they would normally spend.
Yeah.
So when you get what I was talking about was just the dollars and cents. When you get the time back for the owner who can run and grow and drive the company forward, the value of that is priceless. Most of our companies, we did a survey a couple years ago, and most of our companies had seen significant double-digit growth after coming to work with Vida. And I think that's a testament. I was super excited about that. That's the goal. We want to help them win. Because if they win, they grow, they add employees, and guess what? We win too, right? So we're aligned with the client, and that's a pretty powerful thing.
It's hugely powerful.
Yeah.
So when you were describing kind of the team that's behind you, I used to work in healthcare, and a lot of the chronic disease specialist would coordinate by getting into a room and looking at a particular patient case from a nutrition value, epidemiology, you name it, cardiovascular, all the disciplines together would review these cases. And you've got all that intellectual property viewing hugely that valuable. One person and saying, okay, where are the contradictions here or the counterindications? That's kind of the picture that came to mind. Am I on target in terms of how your team looks at a business and says, okay, here's what we need to quarterback for these guys and get them on the road to success?
Well, and we've got retirement specialists, and we've got HR and payroll and compliance specialists, and we've got benefits, and those people all work together. And so we meet on every client every week. Their whole team surrounding them meets on that client every week.
Yeah.
We meet with the clients every quarter, no matter what, just to review how's it going. In person? Yeah. How's it going? What do you need? Where are we headed? I mean, it's crazy. And so it is that team of specialists that come around that patient, that client, if you will, to help them understand what's happening. Sometimes to help them as they're thinking, here's where I want to go. What do I need to do to get there? Okay, if you want to get to that goal, we got to have a bigger team with more skill sets. Here's how we can recruit them. Here's our proposal for you and how to do that. And we'll execute it if you approve it. I mean, it's very holistic, and most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's a number of different professionals unconnected, and there's lots of things missed in that disconnection. So if we can integrate it all, then around those employees, we create a huge a huge opportunity for momentum and growth and health. And it's really rewarding and very valuable. So, but I'm excited. Can I say one other thing?
Please do.
I see some stuff happening in Colorado that really excites me.
Hit it.
I am so grateful to be in this state. I have so much passion for our business community because I see strong, smart, connected, committed to each other kind of entrepreneurs. Like we have the brewery industry here is a great example.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody's working together to see the water level rise and all the boats come up when they do. We see a lot of those things. And so I want to encourage you, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner in Colorado right now, let's go. We got a lot of opportunity out there in front of us. And if we link arms together, if we help each other, get involved with your economic development chapter, your Better Business Bureau, your Chamber of Commerce, groups like Colorado Companies to Watch and the Business Journal stuff, participate in those things and surround yourself with other people who are putting in the same passion and energy. And it's amazing what we can accomplish. So I am so excited. I'm so grateful for what I have seen and what has been and what's got us to here. And I'm so excited about where we can go if we keep that kind of momentum and we encourage and help each other along. So I'll end that comment with let's frickin' go.
Well, if you can't get excited about that, folks, I don't know what the heck you're looking for. So I'd love to end on that note, but I also want to give our listeners one more piece of insight from a legislative standpoint. As we're having these employer-employee discussions when it comes to the voting threads that we have in our state, we want to be seen as pro-business. We want to be seen as business-friendly. how can we as an electorate look at the ballots and say, what are some of the things we need to look at on the ballots and say, we need to make sure we're doing this?
So there's a couple things being suggested right now in our state. One is that we would no longer be an at-will state, but would be a for-cause state.
Oof.
And that will be a hard thing to overcome. That will cause businesses to leave our state. And so, because that's way too onerous on the employer. And so I would say, if in our electorate, if you hear about this, when you see this come up for a vote, please take a negative stance on it. Don't encourage that sort of behavior, because it's going to make it too difficult to be an employer here.
Right.
So I think we need to look at our the policies and the things that are being proposed, and really ask ourselves the question: is that going to help our economy move forward? Is that going to help business owners want to continue? We don't want to discourage the entrepreneurial spirit in Colorado.
Right.
And so we got to do things that help them move forward, not hinder them. And so this is that. I would narrow it down to that right now. That's the most important thing that we're facing right now, is we need to see that stopped.
Yes. I appreciate you saying that, because, again, it's not so much a political issue as it is a common sense and economic development message. And that's
100%.
where I'm going with that, because, we're not a fan of XYZ in office.
Not at all.
We're a fan of business, and we're a fan of employers having the capability and the agility to do what they do best. And that is putting folks to work, our livelihoods. Those are our livelihoods, folks. So please read your ballots. Please read the measures that are in front of you, and don't be fooled by a bunch of political jargon. Of course, we want to protect our employees, but we also want to protect our employers as well. Right. So Please do your homework there. Tyler, this has been an exceptional conversation, my friend. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Honored to be with you. And anytime you want me back, I'd love to participate and love to do anything I can to invest in Colorado business. Thank you for being here. www.vidahr.com if you want to give them a call, 719-623-5005. Folks, it's been fun to be with you. Back in the chair, back in the saddle. If you need to reach us, info@coloradomediagroup.com, or you can hit our news desk if you've got an update in news in your business. Let us know. It's newsdesk@coloradomediagroup.com. Let's have some fun. Let's have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.
You've been tuned in to Business Digest Weekly with Dirk Hobbs. If you'd like to be considered for a spot on our show, email us at info@coloradomediagroup.com.